You're listening to the Heroes Power Hour, presented by BlizzPro.com. Your host, Balrog Fan VP, and co-host, Zexorus and DJ Tyrant.
Sorry, mute it there. Always fun. Technical difficulties to start the show. Welcome to the Heroes Power Hour. We are here, and we are rapidly closing in on our 50th episode, and we have yet another big week in Heroes. Just more and more and more they keep throwing in our direction, and I love every second of it. It's just a great feeling. And here we go. So first off, down below me, we've got the venerable DJ Tyrant. DJ, how you doing, man?
I'm staying tight.
Staying tight. Yes, he is. He forgot to reference it last week within the first sentence this week. Proud of you,
Gotta
buddy.
stay on top of it.
Gotta stay tight. And to the right of the man who stays tight is Mr. Zexorus. Zexorus, how are you doing?
Doing great. A little tired, a little sore, but I am ready to get into the Nexus and talk about all of the great changes that have just happened today.
Yeah, a little side note. Zexorus has been losing weight left and right. The man is a model of fitness because of his job, and we are all very proud of him, and this is where I give him a round of applause for working so hard to lose all that weight. Woo!
I suck at my New Year's resolution. I said I wanted to get fatter, not skinnier. This is not how I wanted things to go.
You've
disappoint
gone in
me.
the opposite direction.
Yeah, it was like 15 pounds in since I started my new job. So it's sub 200 for the first time in like a year and a half.
Wow.
Yeah, Shadow's right. On the contrary, I'm staying loose.
And thank you to Twi'lek Queen for surviving. We are subscribing. We really appreciate it. Okay, I mean, weekend games, we can get into that real quick, but we got to jump into this patch as soon as possible. If you didn't see it, we jumped into Chair League last week, and we did pretty good, I'd say. You can check out the video. It was linked, I believe, on the Heroes Power and the Blizz Pro.
I posted on the Blizz Pro Twitter and
Okay.
Facebook, so if you look there, it should be there.
Yep, we basically got kind of roped into it at the last minute. DJ has a lot of other responsibilities, so we roped in a couple of patrons and my good friend Digi and me and Zax, and yeah, I mean, it went very well, and we've actually formed a team, and it's something we'll be doing. So I've been playing a lot. I'm really into this meta right now. I'm really into the changes, and I've just playing almost every day again. I mean, I think in this last 2 weeks I've played more than I did the previous 2 months.
Yeah, definitely, I agree with you. Like, these past few weeks have just been a lot more wanting to play, just because the game has been really fun. And the other night I practiced with you guys, and that was so much fun. I mean, it's a totally different game when you're a little more serious about it, have a shot caller, and really talk about your strategies beforehand. So, yeah, I was really excited to do that, and apparently I'm good at Thrall.
Yeah,
which is awesome.
Yeah, your throw was on point. I was happy with it.
Zexorus, I mean, you kind of in the same boat here. Do you have anything you want to add about the Chair League or recent practices or any other game experiences I may not have been present for?
No, not really. It's just my only issue right now is that I am kind of feeling tank pains. I'll call it. There's with all the assassins that are potentially available now and all the supports and stuff like that, tanks are I feel like are getting not a whole lot of love right now. There's a definite lack of viability. There's maybe 3 or 4 that would be either first pick or second pick, stages. So I'm kind of hoping now that Blizzard starts pumping out some better tanks in the future, or at least more tanks that are true tanks and not like bruisers like Artanis, Arthas, Chen, etc., etc.
So we're just finally starting to move away from the stun heavy CC meta, and you're like, give me more stun heavy CC.
No. I just want like people who can soak damage.
Right. Okay.
Who can control a fight rather than stun and take it from there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, I feel you. I mean, I'm always going to want more, but I think where we're at right now is a pretty good place, and
yeah, agreed, definitely.
I hear what you're saying on the tanks, though. So yeah, I mean, how about we just jump right into this patch, guys?
Let's go.
Let's do it.
We're just going to go top to bottom through the patch, and I'm guessing this will eat up most of the show. If it's a little bit shorter than usual, I'll be surprised, but hey. Well, we've got the Lunar Festival to start. I mean, they keep throwing these events at us, and I'm always kind of surprised how often they come. I didn't, like, when Heroes of the Storm first got announced, I didn't think we'd have, like, special events like this, and I certainly didn't think they'd come with such a frequency. And I'm all for stuff like this because it's just more free stuff. I mean, play 25 games. All you got to do is play 25 games, and you get a special Monkey Elder Holiday Portrait. And during this event, you also have to catch the Monkey Elder at the beginning. It's kind of like catching the Treasure Goblin. 50% chance to spawn. You catch that monkey, you get 100 gold.
Now it only spawns if any of the players in that game have not finished that quest for the day. So if you're in a full party with everyone who's already done it, then it has a 0% chance of spawning.
No monkey.
Do you get 100 gold every time you complete it, or is it just 100?
I think it's
once a day.
I think it's
once per day. Yep. You get the quest for it, and then once you finish the quest, it disappears until it respawns the next day. It's exactly like the Treasure Goblin. I believe the Treasure Goblin worked the same exact way as this one, except I did not. There is no quest for catching a certain amount of monkey elders or monkeys.
Oh, thank
like there was
God. That makes me happy. Because that was really annoying.
Yeah, it wasn't great. I don't think many people really enjoyed it. I mean, again, it's one of those things where it's just free stuff. So, whatever you put in, that's free, and I can do it. I'm all for it. But that being said, yeah, that quest was quite annoying.
I had it done in like 2 days, and like I regretted it.
I did not.
I remember that. And I was complaining that I didn't get it.
Yeah,
and everyone actually celebrated in the game where I got my 50th Treasure Goblin. Like everyone was like, "Holy shit, good job! Way to go! You're the best!" And oh, yay! Thank you.
You're the best at video games.
Yeah, you're a Nintendo World Champion.
Congratulations!
Here's your power
games
glove.
In 2 days.
It's so bad.
Oh my God!
Anyone got that reference?
Anyways, moving on. There's a new portrait, which is always kind of a nice thing. There's a Cho'Gall portrait for hitting level 10 with both of those heroes, and a StarCraft 2 Protoss heroes portrait for hitting level 10 with Artanis, Tassadar, and Zeratul. And I could talk forever about this next thing, but I'll try to keep it short. The replay protocol is now available.
Well,
which,
one thing about the portrait thing I wanted to throw in there, they did announce that this was because of Reddit suggestions,
correct,
which is very cool.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, about the replay protocol, they've really opened up the API for reading files and stuff like that. Like that's what Heroes Draft does to populate your account and everything, but they're just giving more data for people to parse from. So there's like how many camps you captured, how much damage you did to X, and it really breaks it down a lot more. And I feel like this will be a great tool once someone really takes a hold of it, and I imagine Hotslog will be the one to do that, unless someone else steps up to the plate. But more data to analyze is never a bad thing, I feel like. Just knowing what to do with that data is kind of the challenge of it.
Yeah. And you said API for those of us not in the know
Yeah,
what that
sorry.
stands for. We're not
Uh,
all staying tight and
you know what? I don't even remember what it stands for. I just say API so much. Hold on.
is it well,
Application Program Interface. It might not be
there
exactly
it
that,
is.
but it's on. If you are a programming type, they do have a GitHub open with it, so you know all the stuff to do with that for parsing it.
Okay. And yeah, I mean, this is a tool that's going to be helpful for casting replays and stuff as well, I would imagine,
Hmm.
giving you all that extra info.
Yeah, and that's actually another thing. I think they talked about that, but I'll just mention it really quickly. The the interface, the new observer interface, is now the default observer interface in the game. So it's nice to have that just the default now. I really like that interface that they came out with.
And there's a question in chat about getting a new Valentine's Day skin this year. Wasn't there a Love Morales one that will probably be dropping?
Yeah, that was in the last preview video of skins and mounts. So I imagine that will be at least one of them, if not the only one. I don't know.
Yeah,
We'll see.
I wonder if we'll see that next week or if they'll hold on to it till the 16th.
Yeah, I don't know.
Predictions.
I'd say next week.
Next week, Zexorus?
I think they'd want to get out before.
Zexorus? And we lost Zexorus. Okay, moving
Oh
on.
no, okay, I was muted because I'm a dork. Opposite of Jimmy the week after.
Okay,
Okay.
all right.
The skins will drop when they release Necro.
So I've got the deciding vote. I feel like Iowa. We'll go next week. We'll go next week.
Okay.
You really think Necro's coming out 16th?
Yeah.
That's only 2 weeks away.
Yeah, no, I don't think Necro's
I think it'll be
coming out
23rd at the earliest.
I don't think we'll see Necro till the 1st of March.
We weren't supposed to see Wizard till next week.
Yeah, that is true.
Now what?
Who knows?
Now what? Now what? Now what?
Well, we're all making predictions.
Yeah.
So we'll see who's right. We'll go back to the tape in a couple of weeks, and then we'll relentlessly mock everyone who was wrong.
Absolutely.
So for anyone who hasn't heard, I mean, a new hero came out today. And yeah, she kind of has already made a little bit of a splash, it seems. Li-Ming, the wizard from Diablo 3, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
She's a D3 wizard? Okay. She has... I haven't had a chance to put my hands on her yet, so I'm going to go ahead and let...
Oh, buddy.
Yeah, no, you know what I mean. I haven't got a chance to
Calm
click
down.
around and throw spells around in the Nexus with her. But our resident Mr. Zexorus Willy person has definitely played quite a bit of her, so why don't you go ahead and jump in and tell us what you think about her traits and her abilities and her heroic abilities, and then we can talk about her talents.
Critical mass is so stupid. It's not fair.
What is
It's
critical mass?
Critical mass is her trait. So whenever she gets a takedown, or doesn't have to be a direct takedown, it can be an assist. All of her cooldowns are removed. So, including her ultimate, which granted it's like a 17-second cooldown, but it's absolutely insane. Like, I legitimately don't have any words for how insane, like, being able to chuck out multiple high damaging spells at people is. Like, you can be really bad with her and still crank out 50k damage.
Very interesting.
Like, and if there's a Murky on the field, like, she is a hard counter to Murky. Like, just because if his bubble is off cooldown and he gets anywhere near her, he's dead.
Interesting.
Like, 3 magic missiles to the face and that dude is dead. If you go missile build and take, like, the extra missiles, he's dead in a volley. It does that much damage to just one shot of Murky, which, of course, counts as a takedown, which refreshes your cooldowns.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
So So she's a hard. I feel like she's a hard counter to Murky just because she can constantly keep him pinned down. Like he can't be anywhere like near her, and plus like her. If you go orb build on that chick, like a max range orb is gonna late game is gonna do like almost 1,200 damage.
What has the most range? Is it orb?
Orb
Orb
by a
huge.
lot.
Or
And
if you talent
you mentioned
into
the
the
Azmodan range.
Yeah, I mean it's not as long as dunk range, but it gives you a general idea of just how far she's throwing these things.
like, if
and-
you upgrade the range, it's like almost a full screen.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, it's a ridiculous amount of range. Like you are almost completely safe while doing this.
The magic missile, is that kind of like a frostbolt type range? Is it?
It's a little bit longer.
Yeah, a little bit longer.
Yeah, it's a little bit. It is great for sieging. Like it has bigger range than the towers do, so you're free to throw them at towers. You know it's like 450 damage if all three hit.
Okay, but I mean, obviously, with her teleport being kind of a short distance, you have to keep an eye on the map and make sure that you're not leaving yourself vulnerable for ganks because she apparently dies fairly quickly.
She is very squishy, but once again, I mean, if you're playing her right, you're pretty much nowhere near anybody.
And looking at her heroics here, we got Disintegrate and Wave of Force, and Disintegrate seems to be the favorite early, but is there anything to be said for Wave of Force, or?
There might be. I just feel
I think
like
if you don't have a disengage, maybe.
yeah, like you can bounce people. Like you could probably try some gimmick stuff, like Wave of Force Mosh Pit, and Wave of Force people into a mosh pit if you're positioned right. But
Now, I imagine it comes out it says it knocks all enemies away from the targeted area. I imagine the targeted area is a circle, and then it pushes out from the center of the circle, and everybody goes in those directions.
yeah, I believe so. I have not used it,
Oh, okay.
but
I haven't either, for what it's worth.
Okay, well, yeah, for now it seems Disintegrate's damage is very hard to give up on.
yeah, like Disintegrate is just really strong. It's a really short cooldown. It does a ton of damage. It's quickly directed, and if you get a kill, hey, guess what? It's off cooldown.
Back off cooldown. Okay, I mean, it sounds like she's going to be really relying on that trait to really just sort of pump out the high numbers, and after that, positioning and keeping her safe will be key, as with most mages.
Yeah, and yes, I just tried it out. It is a circle. It pushes a version of her jumps down and pushes everything in a circle out from the center of impact.
Right.
So
Okay.
you could drop like someone you miss someone in a mosh pit, you drop it and they get pushed into it.
Okay. Then I guess that could be.
Oh my
I think
god.
like DJ said, it's probably a disengage tool, and with it coming off cooldown so much, it could be pretty disruptive.
It does 693 damage. Just keep that in mind.
It's not bad.
Jeez.
That's a
That's a silly amount of damage.
that's a silly amount of damage for a push
That's
that has a 20-second cooldown.
Yeah, I mean Hammers does 650 the bullet, and you're waiting, I believe,
Yeah, like-
70 or 80 seconds for that to come back off cooldown.
Yeah.
So, real quick, we'll talk about maybe what you have envisioned for, and you seem to be pretty high on the orb build, so we'll go with that. Just to throw something at players this week they might want to try out.
You want to run the build down then?
Yeah, level 1. What are we looking at here?
Power hungry.
Regen globes restore 100% more mana and grant 10% ability power for 20 seconds.
Yep.
So you get the globe farm going a little bit. You can kind of become a lane bully and keep your mana up.
Exactly, and you like you're gonna stack more damage on this.
Yeah.
You're doing a lot of damage stacking with this build. Level 4 S of Johan. I love it just because it disrupts people, even if it's just for a brief instant. Like you're pulling people towards the orb's center when it hits.
When arcane orb damages enemies, they are pulled towards the center. Okay, that makes sense. It's always good to disrupt people with your abilities that are doing a lot of damage. Can it interrupt channels or pull people away from channels?
Now, there's a case to make for triumvirate, just because if you hit a very long range orb on a hero, you have a 1 second cooldown on orb.
Oh.
So that's something to keep in mind, but I just like the disruption that S of Johann provides. So, level 7, Zai's Vengeance, more damage, better damage.
Okay.
It's like the Papa John's of like arcane orbs.
It's okay.
That was a really bad joke. I'm sorry.
Taste so good.
That's nationwide.
What are you doing?
We're mixing up our
I know, but Peyton
commercials.
Manning's on every
celebrities,
single commercial
games.
known to man.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
But yeah, Arcane Orb now goes 25% farther, which also means it does 25% more damage. But closer up, it does 25% less damage. So you want to be as far away as possible from people with this particular build. Okay. 10 Disintegrate. Enough said.
Hold on, I just want to clarify something we said earlier. Wave of Force does 160 damage, not 400. Whatever we said.
You know what? That was at level 30. I apologize.
Yeah.
I should have looked at that when I did the try mode.
Yeah, no worries.
But still, it has a use.
Oh yeah.
So, but yeah, Disintegrate. It's a short cooldown for a highly damaging ultimate, especially when you're getting into the later half of the build, which leads us into 13 with Glass Cannon. Increases your ability power by 15%, decreases your maximum health by 15%. I think it's a fair trade. Like, especially when you get power hungry, that's a 25% boost right there for 20 seconds at least in all of your damage skills. And then you've also got, you're stacking that with Zai's Vengeance. So that's, I know math doesn't work like this, but that's 50% extra damage on your orbs. That's a lot of damage.
Now I have a question about Cannoneer at 13. It says, and causes it to deal ability damage. So anything you've stacked on ability damage will... It's a 175% basic attack that also adds the ability damage you have?
I'm not real clear on that one. I haven't looked at that.
That's interesting. I feel like that might be more for missile because you're trying to stay so far away with this build. But yeah, that just caught my eye. I'm sorry, I'm off on a tangent. Glass Cannon. You're going Glass Cannon build. Naturally, that fits well. 16?
Arcane Orbit. This is where the Asmodan range starts coming in play. Travels 25% farther and does 25% more damage. So now you're looking at 75% extra damage on your Arcane Orb. This is where the numbers start getting really insane. I think at this point, max range orbs are doing at least minimum 1,000 damage.
Wow.
Yeah,
and then
it's pretty crazy.
And then you're just wiping creep waves at this point. Like they just simply cease to exist. And then at 20, Tal Rasha's elements. All of her spells are on cooldown, like really short cooldowns. You should never have a problem cycling through your skills. You should always, just quick fingers. Like, at worst, your arrow, teleport, orb, teleport, arrow, disintegrate. And as long as you don't cast the same spell twice in a row, you get an additional 20% bonus damage.
Okay.
This chick is broke, man. On the PTR, me and an ETC went 2v4 and won. He got a mosh pit on 4, and then I disintegrated, arrowed, got a takedown, threw an orb, got another takedown, threw another orb, threw an arrow, threw a disintegrate, and everyone was dead on the other team.
Wow.
In the span of that mosh pit. It was not fair. It was nowhere near fair.
Okay. It sounds like you have to play smart against her, and her damage is insane. How
Against-
easy is it to dodge these arcane orbs?
Um, again, it's skill cap. It's depends on how good the wizard is. I mean,
Is it a big range? Like, I guess my question is,
it's
what's the radius on it? Is it a grenade?
it's a
It's
it's
decent.
huge. It's oh no, it's huge, dude. But like it's slow traveling, so you can see it coming a mile away. But it's like at max range, it gets really really big.
Okay.
So but like the arrows are somewhat easy to dodge. But you can the explosion radius of that orb is you think you're safe and then you realize you weren't that safe.
Okay. Well, that's a nice little build for players to try and mess around with and see what they like. If glass cannon putting out the damage is your thing, then Zexorus just helped you out wildly with the new hero. Uh, we'll probably spend more time talking about Li-Ming next week as well. There's always a kind of like, okay, let's see how she affected the meta a week later, because it's always a couple opposite ends of the spectrum on day one. So we'll just have to wait and see here. And plus, we've got so much more to dive into, so we're going to pressing on, everyone. We have some art here, art updates. These are the things that are always cool, but I mean, they don't change the game in any way. They're just nice. I've always been pleased with the ability button art changes. I forget how bad some of the old ones look because I get used to the new ones. Like, I can't even remember how ugly Kerrigan's were anymore, but I know they were ugly compared to when they changed her last time.
Have you looked at Diablos?
Not yet. I haven't had a chance to get in today, but are they
Okay.
cool?
Yeah, they're pretty gorgeous.
The icons for many talents that exist on the same talent tier and modify the same ability have received new color tints to help players easily tell them apart at a glance. Imposing Presence talent's Broken Sword visual effect will now appear when the player is affected by any attack speed slow. This is actually a ninja nerf to Imposing Presence. Because one of the things is, like, it really abuses players who don't check what the opponent took. And giving somebody a big, fat, little broken sword icon on top of their head, they're going to know to stop attacking the person who's giving them the Imposing Presence debuff. So it might actually make Imposing Presence kind of useless for players that know to attack a different target to immediately get rid of that buff and start using all their abilities rather than their autos, or avoid auto-attacking that particular hero. Skins. All Arthas skins and skin variations have received facial animations, so we're going to see more of the Lich King's emotions, which will be nice. Spectre and Shando Illidan both have had visual polishes for their abilities that closely match the skin's theme. I think this is always important. I think the skins you pay for, they should represent what the overall idea of the skin is. So it's cool to see them put some effort into stuff that's already out when they could easily just say, hey, we got your money. Who cares?
Yeah.
Any thoughts on any of the art changes before we move on?
No.
No, they're just nice to have.
Yeah. The shop. We got the shop. Li-Ming's at it. There's the Lunar Festival bundle as expected. There's the Nexus Heroine bundle and the Ultimate Nexus Heroine bundle. I do not know. I haven't seen those. I assume they're just, a lot of the female cast members in a bundle.
Yeah, Sonya Hammer, Taronde, Zagara, Johanna.
Limited time through purchase of the Star Princess Li-Ming bundle, you will get the Star Chariot, and exclusively available through the purchase of the Lunar Festival, you get that Lunar Dragon, which is like the Chinese New Year dragon. Pretty cool. If you missed your chance at buying the 2015 Cloud9 Champions Nexagon mount, it is gone. Sorry, should have bought it. Johanna got a price reduction. She's down to 4,000 gold. That's pretty helpful because she's one of the more sought after tanks. And the new skins, we talked about that before. Sounds, there's some new level up sounds. Towers of Doom's got updated music. Murky and Leoric both have unique death sound effects now. So
I don't know how you feel about the death sounds. They're kind of jarring.
I think they're meant to be to show that like a hero that can come back quicker than other heroes has died.
Maybe.
Like, oh, okay, that guy's dead, but that sound reminds me that he'll be up sooner than most heroes. That's my guess, anyways. The user interface. Custom games. The lobby host may now choose heroes for each AI player in the custom lobbies using the new Pick Hero dropdown on the right side of each AI player's spot. I guess that's good if you're organizing giant AI games. I don't know. The in-game user interface. Kill streak flames have been removed to improve clarity during gameplay. Battleground objective user interface for Blackheart's Bay and Tomb of the Spider Queen will now indicate the total number of doubloons and gems each team currently has in its possession. That is so great. I am tired of doing on-the-fly math to figure out if I have a turn in or not. I love that. I mean, obviously it's not as hard on Blackheart's Bay as it is on Tomb of the Spider Queen, but I think overall that makes on-the-fly planning and shot calling and adjustments to what's going on in the map a lot easier. Like, that little thing, it actually means quite a bit to me. And health bars above the core will now indicate when the core has been vulnerable. I guess people were having a problem with that. I don't know. Floating combat text has been visually reworked so that damage, healing, and other important numbers are easier to differentiate during battle.
This is probably one of my favorite things, actually.
Yeah,
In the game,
I don't play with the. I don't. I think I have that off.
Oh, okay.
So I don't really notice it, but you use it, so you can speak more to this. What do you like most about this, Jimmy?
It just is when I use an ability, I can really tell if it hits now, and if I missed or something like that, and especially as a support, seeing what damage is getting shielded versus healed is kind of nice to know. Especially since I've been playing a lot of Rhaegar lately. That's it though. I mean, it's another one of those just nice quality of life things.
Definitely. The new default observer interface. This is pretty much right up your alley as well, Jimmy.
Yeah.
This is like caster's dream galore, pretty much.
Pretty much. Yeah,
this-
now you just don't have to download the interface anymore. It just comes default in the game, which is nice. And I think this fixed the issue with Towers of Doom, where it doesn't actually display the value of the Nexus health. So it was like really frustrating as a caster. You're like, I think they have enough shots to kill them.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, that's something it's nice to see them reaching out towards all facets of players and observers and casters and things like that within Heroes. Everybody has a role to play, and everybody enjoys doing the thing they do in Heroes. Some people like casting more than they like actually playing the game, so being friendly to those people is very nice to see. It's nice to see Blizzard do things like that for its community. Ping spam reduction, another thing that's nice to see Blizzard do for its community. Reduce the frequency at which players can issue pings before they become unable to issue additional pings. So we're not going to see people click off 7 or 8 times just to be annoying.
I'm guilty of that.
You're a super pinger?
I can be when I'm playing pub games.
Oh, man. Yeah. I usually ping once or twice, and then I'll just start typing in all capital letters.
There you go. That'll get the point across.
Yes. Yar, I'm angry. No, I usually ping once or twice, and then I will, in that moment, decide, oh, my team doesn't care. That's cool. I guess we'll just play this game out. Or they show up, and then I know to continue to make pings at important points. I think that's the way you use ping. People either watch them or they don't. Design and gameplay. I mean, we have the abilities and talents that apply invulnerability or stasis will now also display a timer to indicate the duration of these effects. Again, huge. Great for awareness in the map, good for calling, good for just positioning and knowing when you can go in and how long you have these abilities, how long you have to wait out these abilities and whatnot.
Question.
Yes.
Technically, Zagara's Maw is a stasis, right?
Correct.
So is there going to be a timer?
I believe so. I mean, I don't know for sure.
So
but
the same with Void Prison and stuff like that, because that's going to set up
Oh wow, that'll be so
some
helpful for Hero League.
Yeah, exactly. That will set up like just absolutely idiotic combos. Like,
It will allow players to do those easier. Yeah.
yeah, that's gonna go a long, long way.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's good. That's a good thing. I think it's one of those things where that information has been kind of hidden, or it's hard to count out and coordinate with people you don't know, you're not on a Skype call with, so it's kind of levels the playing field amongst team members who had just met each other or just playing one-offs, which I'm a fan of. Damage dealt by splash and cleave effects will no longer trigger effects that would otherwise require a direct attack to trigger. Example, block, spell shield, imposing presence, etc., etc. So that's nice because that does waste your block if you don't want to blow one of your blocks or spell shields on something that's splashing and doing like 25% of the initial damage. It's a waste, and I'm glad they did that. Battleground monsters. Battleground-specific creatures are now universally defined as monsters. Example, neutral garden terrors, sky temple guardians. So everybody get that terminology down. We're not playing a MOBA, and we're not going to bosses. We're going to monsters. What do they call it? It's a online brawler.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
I have no idea. It's a MOBA.
it's a MOBA.
Like
That's
as much as they don't want it to be a MOBA, they made a MOBA. They made a really fun MOBA.
Several talents and abilities has been changed to reflect this new categorization, and the following no longer affect monsters. Mercenary Lord, Johanna's Night Takes Pawn, Lunara's Cruel Bloom, Rexar's Easy Prey and Bird of Prey, and the Butcher's Chop Meat, and the following now affect monsters, and that's Anubarek's Beetle Juiced and Asmodan's Demonic Smite. So basically, this is kind of to tell what beats up these neutral creeps and what doesn't. And I guess that's a good thing.
Yeah,
several-
I don't know.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm still confused on this like a lot. I, don't
That-
know. I wish
well, that
I wish
just
they would
seems
spell
kinda-
this out way more because there's
Well-
a lot of questions I have about this. Like,
Basically,
exactly-
if it doesn't say monsters, it doesn't affect neutral garden terrors, sky temple guardians, things like that. Like when you're fighting those guys who spawn because of the map and not creep waves, if the thing specifically says it will affect monsters, it affects monsters.
okay, so does this mean that Johanna's versatility on Infernal Shrines is much less now? Do those classify as monsters?
That I'm thinking might be the case
Okay.
because those are battleground specific creatures.
I don't know. This just seems kind of arbitrary. Like they just like, okay, well, this is what's really strong in the meta right now. Let's just not make it strong anymore.
Well, I think the main thing is it doesn't want easy clear. Like Johanna was really just kind of like a no-brainer tank pick on these things because that AoE of Night Takes Pawn did so much damage on Shrine, it was almost unfair. So Night Takes Pawn is still an amazing ability for wave clear. It still does great on mercenary camps. It just no longer wins you fights on monster things. I think Shrine is probably the best example of that.
Yeah.
I suppose.
We'll have to see how it all shakes out. I guess they just did it for that reason. That's all I can think of, personally. Battlegrounds. All the battlegrounds have received a change in that towers, forts, and keeps now deal 50% bonus damage to heroes. No more tower diving early. I think players are going to have a much harder time pushing out lanes early, which had kind of become a thing recently. I mean, if left alone in a lane, you could have a tower down before you hit level 2.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
The right heroes. So I think that's a little bit of a problem, and that's probably why they did that. Cores will now display an invulnerable message if attacked by an enemy when no allied keeps have been destroyed, so Uzigeras who are Nidus networking in at the beginning of the game will now have a notification that you're doing something wrong. Structures can no longer be made vulnerable. That's very interesting. Because part of Sylvanas' late game pushing power was her ability to make things vulnerable with her black curse thing.
Yeah.
So No strong core pushes from those characters applying vulnerability. Jaina can't do it. Anybody who had vulnerability where you could reduce, or increase the amount of damage heroes took, it no longer applies to structures. So, interesting. And they say the scaling changes we released in December made it so heroes could dive into structures with impunity during the early game. Increasing the damage these structures deal to heroes allows defending players to feel a bit safer. We are exploring other fixes to help structures feel more meaningful throughout the game, and will release them when they are ready. Thoughts?
It's
Anything?
good.
Turn them into barracks.
Like, players
like
can get inside of them, like in StarCraft?
Like
No, I mean you can lift them off and move them somewhere else.
There- Oh my
That would be
gosh.
fun.
Okay. Idea, Browder. I'm gonna tweet this at you. I swear to God. Okay, the first StarCraft map needs to have that mechanic in it,
Lift off structures?
where you can lift off some of your structures.
Okay. I
Like,
can see that.
I don't know where else I'm going with that, but that has to be a mechanic. You have to be able to you have to be able to lift them off somewhere.
It's not a terrible idea.
I think it would be the ultimate troll factor of anything. Like, I'm going to lift off my structure and land it by their nexus because I'm a jerk. Welcome to Quick Match. So they'd have to tweak that idea a bit, but maybe. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. They've been pretty unique and innovative with all their maps thus far. Dragonshire, the Dragon Knight, damage reduction from structures increased from 50 to 60%. Dragon Knight's going to take less damage. Savage Charge channel time down and cooldown is increased. Since the Dragon Knight is flagged as a hero, the increased structure damage was doing too much damage. Increasing Rebel Maker's effectiveness to compensate felt appropriate. Savage Charge felt like a dead button a lot of the time due to the ability's long channel. The change has made the button feel a lot better to press. Pressing buttons is the name of the game, so thank you, Blizzard. Infernal Shrines, the minimap now more clearly indicates when a shrine is ready to activate, and the Arcane Sentry's damage is reduced by 20%. Arcanes were the monsters, and they needed a little bit of a nerf.
Yeah, agreed.
Towers of Doom, ownership of nearby bell towers will no longer determine which lane Sapper mercenaries will travel down. So the southern ones will always go bottom lane, basically, is what the change is here. And text has been clarified, add it to the tunnels so everyone knows they are for one-way use. They are only from base to tunnel. You can't tunnel from them back into base, which confused some players. And in try mode, there's a new healing dummy, so you can calculate your healing. That's
Woo!
Yeah. Yeah, a little exciting, guys.
Theory crafters will like it.
Yeah. Figure out all that healing you got.
Yeah, someone else can do that, not me.
Woo!
And in the talents, block changes are now tracked in the buff bar next to the hero portrait, and a timer has been added to show the time remaining until a new charge is generated. This is a really feels-good buff for block. That's one of those things where you just kind of like hoping it was there when you needed it. And being able to obviously track, like if you've got, 4 seconds until your block is back, you'll probably hold off for 4 seconds before you charge that Vala with your abilities and whatnot, just so you have that extra block, or Rainer, any of those guys who you need block for.
I never take block, so
I take it against auto attack heavy builds. Like if they've got Rainer, Vala, and like a tank that's going to be throwing out a lot of autos, like a Chen or an Artanis, I like block there. Definitely mitigates damage. I usually take it on Diablo if I need it. That's about the only hero I take it on, though. And focused attack, basic attack damage reduced from 75 to 60%. Focused attack was doing a bit too much damage over the course of the game, and it's
That's pretty huge.
yeah. And it's pretty much always taken nowadays since they reworked it. So, all right.
Now
Well,
the fun begins.
yeah, and we're already 45 minutes in, so I want to say what we've been doing on Wednesdays is we've been doing a patch show. So if we feel like this is running too long for this, tune in tomorrow before Westmarch Workshop, and we will finish off what we don't cover here tonight. and that's at twitch.tv/BlizzPro. And usually
Mhm.
we start 7:30. The Heroes Power Hour Twitter will tweet out when it is starting.
Yes, I will make sure of that.
Okay, so somebody want to jump in? I've been talking a lot here. I feel like I'm.
Have you? You feel like it? Well, okay, let's go into Gaul real quick, okay? Because Gaul saw some play at the spring qualifiers over the weekend, destroying one particular team on Tomb of the Spider Queen, and now the changes are coming in to make Gaul better and more viable. Shove is now a level 1 talent. Cooldown increased from 15 to 40 seconds, can no longer be used while Cho is mounted. That was kind of weird. I have Kilrog talent, cast range increased by 33%, maximum charge count increased from 2 to 4. Psychotic Break, another talent. Cooldowns for Shadow Flame, Dread Orb, and Gaul's heroic abilities are now clear and can be cast immediately upon death. So wrap that around your head for a minute. Double Shadow Flame, double heroics, etc., etc.
Wait, so when this is
Everything comes off cooldown.
as
This
soon
is
as
you can keep attacking when Cho
when
dies,
you're
right?
dead, right? Okay, so yeah, that resets all the cooldowns, and then
And
even
it
while
gives-
he's alive, he's still got that He's got now a permanent 5%.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
that's
Hurry
scary.
Up Oath.
Yeah,
That's
it's pretty
just
good.
insane. Hurry Up Oath. Let's see here. Increases the initial movement speed bonus to 70%. Shadow Flame, his Q, Double Trouble talent. Functionality has now changed. Shadow Flame's cooldown is reduced by 1 second if it hits an enemy hero affected by Cho's consuming blaze. Shadow Flare.
So that's a little more like synergy between Cho and Gaul.
Yes.
Something that they'll have to work on together.
Yes. The Shadow Flare talent moved from 1 to 16. Enemies hit by it are now slowed by 25% for 1 second. Let's see here. Runic Blast, his E. New talent at level 4. Siphoning Runes talent was removed. It is replaced with Runic Persistence. Runic Blast no longer destroys Cho's Rune Bomb, which I assume should synergize with like the rollback or something.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
The big one though is Gaul's Twisting Nether is just gotten a gigantic buff from originally 342 plus 4% per level to 415 plus 5% per level. That's going to scale so ridiculously hard. And they increased the slow amount from 40 to 50%.
So overall, do you think these are positive changes for?
Oh, every one of them. Like, yeah. Go ahead, Jimmy.
Yeah, I just giving him that much more damage. I haven't played enough Gaul to really fully encapsulate how these changes are going to do. But I mean, when you just see damage numbers going up here, especially on that Twisting Nether, I mean, that's going to be used so much more now. And the change to Psychotic Break is just, that sounds terrifying.
One thing that's always jumped out at me about a good Cho'Gall player too is his survivability and his ability to escape dangerous situations. So that extra buff to spur onward for his Hurry Up Oath talent also scares me a little bit on top of all the increased damage numbers.
Yeah. Because there's nothing scarier than a ultimating running Cho'Gall.
Right. And yeah, he's with chasing people down, he's pretty good at that. He's pretty good at moving into the right positions. He's kind of deceptively fast because he's a big fat oaf, and you're not really expecting him to be able to move around like he does. So with all this increased damage, it should be interesting to see what Gaul does. The developer comments are a few months of data has given us a good idea about which Gaul's talents are under and overperforming, and balance changes and talent swaps to help these issues. So, with no more siphoning runes and Shadow Flare going from 1 to 16. It's going to probably take away a little bit of his early game power and trade off for late game power. Right?
Yeah. You are not wrong.
Okay, I played a little Gull, but honestly, Cho'Gall fever wore off fairly quickly during that initial week, and I don't think I've been back to him since. So I'm just kind of going from memory on that.
Yeah, I've still got my vaccinations for Cho'Gall, and I don't want to catch it again. Like, we've had discussions, and I'm grudgingly going along with you, but
Get your Cho'Gall flu shot.
yeah.
Exactly.
Illidan got a basic damage increase. He starts off with 4 more attack.
Yeah, that's not going to help him. But
No.
Browder did tweet out that I think they are looking into him. He's one of the heroes they're looking into.
He got some heavy-handed nerfs after Heroes of the Dorm last year.
Yeah, and we really haven't seen him too much since then. Jaina's Ring of Frost, the Ring of Frost inner area radius now properly matches the ability's visual effects, so it should match up more with where you think it should be hitting things, which is just better all around. I think that's a buff for it, I believe.
Yeah, I mean,
A
knowing
slight buff.
like the couple of times I used Ring of Frost when Jaina first came out, I didn't even really understand what it did, like initially, because it was hard to see like where it was hitting.
Mhm.
I'm like, okay, maybe I'll see somebody get caught in a bunch of ice, and then I'll know that I can go in and attack. But
Yeah.
so
So Lunara's changes, they're just really kind of small changes. The basic attack has received responsiveness improvements. Range basic attack animation speed increased by 50%. That doesn't mean anything as far as damage. It just looks smoother and more in sync with what you're actually doing. Melee basic animation speed increased by 300% to match the range animation's new speed. Honestly, I had no idea she had a melee attack, so this is news to me. Wisp has been reduced in mana cost from 50 to 30 and cooldown decreased from 45 to 30, but its duration has not changed. I believe that was 45 seconds, so I mean, you have a lot more versatility with Wisp than you did before. And this is on top of all the changes she received. What was it, last week? With the health and damage stuff. So,
yeah,
I mean, I feel like she's in a good place right now, and we'll start seeing her a bit more in competitive play.
yeah, she definitely creeped up in her numbers a little bit throughout last week after those changes, and probably see a little bit more rise because this was one of the few things I didn't even expect more buffs to Wisp with a cooldown reduction and stuff. I feel like the really good players with her are going to take advantage of that Wisp because that vision's a big deal.
Yeah, it is.
Do you want to leave Nova for tomorrow?
Yeah, Nova's a big. I mean, we should probably just close it up here, and everybody be ready to tune in tomorrow, where we'll pick up at Nova and discuss the big changes to Nova, Rhaegar, and Malfurion.
Yeah.
Or I'm sorry, and there was another one that got a big change. We'll dive into it tomorrow. Mainly Rhaegar and Nova are entire discussions amongst themselves, so
Yeah, pretty much.
we've got a lot to go through there. So yeah, be sure to tune into that. Check out the Heroes of the Storm Power Hour Twitter. That's at Heroes Power Hour on Twitter for the notification of when we go live. Be sure you're checking out everything at heroesofthestorm.blizzpro.com. Willie and I write builds. We keep current on the Heroes of the Storm news. Alebeard writes wonderful strategy guides. You can catch all of Jimmy's various going-ons there and things that he might be doing throughout the week, whether it be casting or whatnot. You're usually made mention on there, or at least at the Twitter at blizzpro.com or at blizzpro. I don't know. Is there anything else we want to throw out there? Patrons? You got the patron stuff, Jimmy.
Yeah, patreon.com/heroespowerhour. This show does cost us money to put together just through all the various computer equipment we have and stuff like that. So just showing your support monetarily if you want to. It's never required, and it just helps us out to keep the show quality up, and in case there's any hardware failures or anything like that. It really helps us recover quickly from something like that. And also, it gets you onto a guaranteed spot on our friends list and also in our viewer games on Tuesday nights, which are right after the show here, coming up in just a few minutes. So patrons always have first dibs on playing Heroes of the Storm with us. Other than that, just thanks everyone for your support, and it really helps us out. And appreciate that.
To fulfill a chat joke, I want to thanks Decana for the subscription. Really appreciate that. We are doing more with Extra Life in the coming months throughout the year. This year, our co-founder Eldorian has really wanted to step up all of the efforts we do with Extra Life. And every donation, you can win prizes. Every $5 gets you an entry for a chance to win a SteelSeries V3 Prism gaming headset. I don't know what that is, but it sounds amazing. And if we at BlizzPro hit our goal of $2,000, then every $5 donated also gets you entered in a chance to win a Nintendo 3DS XL color of your choice. Guys, that's really cool. Our team is on a mission to save kids through video games, and we need you to help. Each of us have chosen our local Children's Medical Network hospital, where thousands of children are treated each year, regardless of their family's ability to play. Please consider joining our Extra Life team and help us raise $10,000 for 2016. And yeah, I mean, it's a good cause. There's never a bad time to donate to a children's hospital, especially for something silly that we all like to do when it comes to video games.
Yeah.
Do it for the kids.
For the kids.
For the kids. And before we close out, I just want to mention all our other BlizzPro Network shows. Tomorrow night, after our patch discussion, will be the West March Workshop. If you're into Diablo or curious about this new season, they talk all about that, all the builds and everything you need to know about doing well this season in Diablo. Thursday nights is the other show that I'm on BlizzPro, the Payload podcast about Overwatch. I believe we're going to be talking about another class this week. I don't know which one it's going to be, but we've talked about defense and support so far, so it's going to be one of the remaining two. And on Sunday nights is Well Met, the Hearthstone show with JR and company, and that's going to be quite the show because of the changes in Hearthstone.
Yeah, those were a lot of big changes. I'm waiting for confirmation that it looks like maybe I read off the wrong info. I'm guessing that's what Eldorian's about to tell me. I was just reading from the panel. I knew we were doing something with Extra Life. That was for last year. So forget all that. Still donate to Extra Life. We do have a different thing going on this year, and I will give you correct details next year. In classic Balrog fashion, I'm just screwing everything up. Anything else?
No, I think that's it. Thanks everyone for watching, and get ready for viewer games.
All right.
Woo!
Woo!